What up, everyone? So, we have another monthly review here. And I know what you're thinking, we just did a monthly review like 2 videos ago. Well, now you realize how early the monthly review should be. It actually should be even earlier than this. So I asked you guys' opinions about keeping Comic Block out of the mix because it makes the monthly review so late. So that's what I did. And I actually kept a few boxes out this month because there's so many boxes that got delayed. 3 boxes still have not shown up. For the month of June, by the way, there are 3 boxes that still have not shown up, and we are halfway into July. And 2 of the boxes that are even here are still missing items because those are shipping at a later date. So this month was definitely the month for late boxes. So I decided to cut out the ones that are just too late because it pushes the monthly review back way too far. And when those finally show up, maybe I'll get a chance to do individual reviews of those when they do show up. But in the meantime, the boxes we have here, we have 7 boxes present here right now. And the ones that are late are Nerd Block got delayed by a lot. It's almost an entire month late. It's usually one of the first boxes to show up each month, and we're well into July, halfway through, and it's still not around, so that still hasn't shown up. The other one is the Stan Lee box, which is a bi-monthly box. This is the first month where I heard it's supposed to be 100% exclusive, so I was waiting for that one, but it still hasn't shown up, and I don't want to wait on this any longer, so that one. And then the third one is Comic Block, which technically comes at the same time. It's just always late. It always comes 3 weeks into the following month, so I think I may just keep that out, which is no big deal because those 3 boxes are usually almost always at the bottom of the countdown anyway. Comic Block and Nerd Block are usually the last 2. When Stan Lee shows up, it's usually on the bottom 2 because Stan Lee is very expensive, and to this point we haven't gotten much exclusive, so that box that we get this month may change that. But I may just throw that into July's monthly review because it's not month specific necessarily. And then the other 2, like I said, are always really low in the countdown because they kind of suck anyway. So I thought it'd be okay to just go ahead and go through with this. And in the following month, the month of July, I'd like to get back to some individual reviews. I know a lot of people requested that, and I keep saying I will, so I want to try and get back to that too, because that's what this channel was originally about. I just haven't done it in so long. So I want to try and make time for that and do videos more consistently if I can. So we are going to talk about these boxes, and for anyone tuning in for the first time, hello, welcome. What this video is all about is about helping you find the best monthly subscription box for you. I put the boxes I have in order, I talk about each one, what to expect, what you can get out of it. So here's just a quick place to come to if you're trying to decide which box you want. I've made it simple for you, put it all into one video so you can just skip through it. And in the description there is timestamps if you want to see a specific box. Feel free to jump around. I know this is a long video. Don't feel pressured to watch the whole thing. So you can just skip around and see what you like. I'll show pictures of it. And always, for all of my videos, if you want to see just pictures and don't want to hear me talk, skip to the end. I always do pictures of just the boxes. So feel free to do that as well. So I want to save you guys as much money and time as possible and make this as simple for everyone to help you guys decide what you want and what you need. That being said, one thing I do need to mention, the contest winner. I do a contest every month. The winner is in the description, all the way down at the bottom. And keep in mind, if you are the winner, it always takes me a very long time to get boxes out. As with everything, I'm very limited on time, so it'll take a while to get you a box, but congratulations if you are the winner. If you want to be in the next competition, post a link of my channel anywhere on social media, and then send me the link in a comment or a private message, and you'll be thrown into a drawing, and then I'll draw it on each monthly review. And feel free to do it. I know a lot of people think that the odds are pretty slim of winning, but this month I think there was only like 5 people that entered, so your odds are pretty good. So feel free to jump in on there. It's pretty good odds of winning, but it's totally up to you, no pressure. Anyway, so let's get right into the reviewing. We only have 7 boxes here. I will try to keep the video as short as possible while at the same time still being as informative as possible. So, starting this off, and this is a box that I really wanted to do an individual review of, but could not find the time, and that is the Marvel Goods and Gear. And for those of you who watch my channel, you know I have hatred for this box. I thought this box was horrible, and I canceled it right after the first one, and this is now officially, I think, the 4th or 5th one I've gotten. And I swear to God I canceled it, and then I got charged again. I don't know how, and I had to re-cancel it. So, some kind of glitch in the system. And of course my alarm goes off. Some kind of glitch in the system that somehow I got sent another box and charged another $50 for it. But the good news is it is getting a little better. So the problem I've had with this box, and keep in mind that all these reviews are for the general population. It's not based on my opinion. It's based on what I think most people would like, and if this box is good for the general population and not for a limited market. My opinion has very little to do with it, so just keep that in mind during the review process. The problem with this box was always it was appealed to a very, very limited market. So a good box means it's good for everyone, not good for just one person. It has to be good for everyone. And this box was always mixing things together that weren't necessarily bad. It's just there are so few people that would actually want that. And it's goods and gear, and it's not collectibles. It doesn't say that in the title, but you know, it's not collectibles, which is fine, but it's more practical stuff, kinda. So one of the boxes we got was all like kitchen stuff, and last time it was travel stuff. And those are all useful things, but it's just weird when it's Marvel mixed with travel stuff, because the people that like Marvel and the people that travel are already a limited market, and the people that really like both of them and want them together is such a limited market on top of that, and it just was too narrow, and that's basically what the problem was. It wasn't for everyone, it's for a specific group of people, and that's why it always got lower. The other problem was, it's very expensive. Depending on what state you're in, your state taxes, it's somewhere from $40 to $50 for this box. And for it being limited to such a narrow market, it just wasn't very good. But let's get into this one specifically. And like I said, it did get a little bit better. Like in this one, there's a description card. Let's start with that. So in this one, we got a towel, where that's more like it. That's something that everyone can use. It doesn't matter how much of a fan you are, everyone can use a towel. It's not that big a deal. So here's a quick look at everything in there. So that's something where it's like, okay, that's better. That's something everyone can use. And then a shirt, everyone wears shirts. And then we had glasses in there, everyone uses glasses, a pin, and a cup. So it's like, okay, this is much better than before. So although everyone may not like everything in the box, at least they're opening it up to where it appeals to more people. Like last month's box, we got like a headlamp and things that were for travel, and it was just, it's like, who would want those things? The main item in there was a big tiki cup of Yondu, and it's very obvious at this point that Loot Crate has a partnership with this company, the Geeky Tikis, because they keep showing up in boxes, and we've gotten various different ones of various different sizes. So why they have a partnership with them, I don't know. And it's one of those things where it's not bad. It's still, at the end of the day, it's still a cup. You can still use it as that or put stuff in there, so that's fine. It's just very odd, and that's what this box had a problem with. They're just mixing things together that really never needed to be mixed together, like tikis and Marvel characters. Tikis are cool. I like tikis. I like the whole Hawaiian thing. I like luau's. Those are all fun. And I love Marvel characters. But I never in a million years would imagine, like, yeah, these two should be crossed together, because most of the items in these boxes, you just are like, why? It's not bad. There's nothing wrong with it. But why would someone want that specifically? And the problem with this one specifically was that it was Yondu. You see on the back, there's all the other characters. The problem with Yondu is he doesn't have as iconic of an image where he's very recognizable. I didn't recognize it at first. Where if you look at like Rocket or Groot, they have a very iconic shape. They're not normal shapes, so as soon as you see it, you can very easily tell who that is. Yondu, the only thing that you can really tell it's his is the little horn on his head, and it's very, very subtle. So even when I saw it, I didn't recognize who it was, even though I love Guardians of the Galaxy. So they should have picked one of the other characters on the back. This one was specific to Loot Crate. I think this was an exclusive one, but it's just unfortunate because he's just not that recognizable, and I think that's the problem with a lot of the other items too. If you put it out, people wouldn't recognize that as Yondu. You would have to explain that to them. They after you explain it, they'd be like, oh yeah, I see it, but it just wasn't different enough, and it wasn't special enough and not enough detail. Also the shirt, same thing. It was fine, nothing wrong with it, but there could have been so much more to it. And the glasses is an item that we still haven't received. So this is why I said it's the month of late boxes, because some of the boxes didn't have all their items and they're being shipped separately. So instead, some of these boxes are just not arriving until way later. Some of these companies have decided to ship out the box anyway so people get it on time, and then that separate item will come later. So again, I can't judge the sunglasses because I haven't seen them. So that's another problem of why it gets lower in the countdown. And again, not that this is bad. There's nothing, I'm not going to insult it and complain about it or anything like that. It's just nothing really great about it either. And if you're spending $50, you want it to be great. And it's, again, it's fine stuff, but why do I want Tiki Marvel characters? Why? It's cool, it's interesting, but it's just such a weird mix. But like I said, they're doing better, but still not really great. It doesn't appeal to the masses as much, and it's just too expensive. So that's why it got lower on the countdown, mostly because of the price and because some of the choices are just not that great. And hopefully, hope to God, this is the last time I see this box, because it's too expensive, and I've just never been a fan of it. Like I said, I canceled it after the first one, and I just keep getting these boxes through some kind of glitch in the system. So that's number 7, and that's why it gets lower on the countdown. But you know, hopefully it gets better and better, and they appeal to more of the masses. Hopefully that's what we see in the future. Alright, number 6. And that was Collector Core Spider-Man. I was actually very disappointed in this box for a few reasons. One, I saw the shirt design, and it just wasn't that great. So this is the shirt that Peter Parker wears in the movie, so it's great that we got a little movie reference in there, but I just was hoping for something a lot better. Usually when we get shirts in this box, it's a really cool design, and it's something that I can wear to the movie premiere. This is an instance where I didn't, because it's cool because he wore it in the movie, but it just wasn't iconic enough that I wanted to really wear. It was just a little too plain, and that didn't really make sense. Next was the comic, and the comic cover looks like ass. It looks horrible. I mean, I realize that they're trying to do the whole pop cover thing, which is fine, but look at this. Look at the terrible detail. It looks so simplistic. It looks like something that someone would create in like an introductory Photoshop class, where they have to create a picture and it's like their first time using Photoshop. It's just, the colors are so simple, it's like very basic gradients, there's no real depth to it, it just looks like a tracing of one of the pictures on the pop boxes. The cover looks awful. And it has Vulture there, but he's just kind of like the back of his head in the corner, like, and this awkward angle of the building. There's just no detail to it. I'm just really bummed. And it's things where it's exclusive covers in this box always, which is great, but when the cover is shitty, like, who cares if it's exclusive? Because nobody wants that. Who's going to buy that? They just did a really bad job, and they have been lately. Most of their comic covers look exactly like this, where it looks like someone spent 30 minutes putting it together and printed it on there. I'm fine with pop figures being on there, but put some more detail and effort into it. So that was the other reason. And the third reason was that Iron Man is nowhere in this box. I realize it's a Spider-Man box, but it's supposed to be Spider-Man Homecoming for the movie, because it's got Vulture in there, and it's got Shocker, but no Iron Man. And I thought that's like one of the main selling points. That's why I was so excited for the movie, because I love Spider-Man, but I also love Iron Man. And Spider-Man has not been in the Marvel Universe for so long. He's finally back in, so we get to see him with the other Marvel characters. That's what was so cool about it. And Iron Man's nowhere in here. And the funny thing is, they released Pint-Sized Heroes, a mini-series of just 6 characters. They weren't blind bags, you just bought them for packs of 3. Those looked great. I thought they did a really fantastic job. I really, really loved those. And they weren't too expensive, and they had great detail, and it had Iron Man. And I'm wondering why they didn't put those in there. Take two of the out of that series, or they didn't do Shocker, throw him in there, and make a Pint-Sized Hero. Because instead we got mystery minis, which I'm usually a fan of, but not for Marvel ones, because they have to be bobblehead, and they always look terrible. Like, I still have, like, the X-Men ones and the Spider-Man mystery minis. Those series were just awful. They did a terrible job. There wasn't enough detail, so I like that they're giving variety in that sense, but did a bad job. And again, still no Iron Man. And I was hoping for a shirt with Spider-Man and Iron Man, so every aspect of this box was pretty disappointing. And the pop figure, there's nothing bad about it, but just wasn't that great either. He has the webs under his arms like in the movie, but just not that special. I was kind of hoping that maybe they'd do a double one like they did in Civil War with Cap and Iron Man, of maybe Spider-Man and Iron Man or something like that, but there's just so much more they could have done with this box, but they really didn't. I think they really kind of shit the bed with this one, and they kind of just didn't put as much detail as they could or as much effort as they could. I was really excited for this box and for the movie too, but was disappointed because the lack of everything in there. So, and for all the reasons I listed, a lot of these things are selling for a lot lower than they should be, for the exact reasons I listed. The quality's not really there, the characters aren't as good as people thought, all those reasons a lot of these things are selling for a lot less than they should, so that hurts the value as well. So overall, I was very disappointed, and I think other people were too, and that's why it gets lower in the countdown, because it could have been so awesome, and it just wasn't. So that's a real bummer, but it is what it is. Alright, moving on. Number 5. And that was our Loot Crate Sanrio box, the small gift box. And I think this is the last one I'm going to get. It was very valuable when it first came out, but a lot of these boxes are. And that's because a lot of people don't know they exist until they come to a channel like mine and see a review of it and then go buy it themselves. So the first two boxes were really great. This is only a quarterly box, by the way, so it only comes 4 times in a complete year. So we see this less often than pretty much any other box out there. And the first two had items that were very rare and were very valuable. And the market is slowly declining because more and more people are getting this box now, which devalues the items because they're putting so many more out there. So that's not a bad thing, it's just something to note that the value is going down and down. So if anyone out there is trying to resell stuff, keep that in mind in the future. Another problem with this is the same with the Marvel Goods and Gear, same with Loot Crate. It appeals to a very limited market. So this one is a summertime theme, which is fine. It's summertime, but it was all beach-themed items. So we got a Hello Kitty figure, which isn't really, it was beach-themed, but you know, anyone can use it. We got a towel, you know, that's fine too, and a tote bag. We also got like sandals and stuff. So the problem with that is, it's good for me. I live in Southern California, so it's beach town here all the time. But they got to realize that most of the country and most of the world is nowhere near a beach. It has no business near a beach anywhere. And things like sandals are only for not just beach weather, but at least warmer weather. People that are northern or maybe in the middle of the country definitely aren't wearing sandals, and I doubt if they are, they're wearing Hello Kitty sandals. So I don't have a problem with that. I could pull it off. I don't give a shit. But they're limiting themselves on who can get this. And that's just, they're kind of shooting themselves in the foot. Same with their Marvel box. They're just limiting themselves to who they can sell it to. So they're going to get less sales, and the people that do get it, if they want to sell something, they can't because there's so few people that would want that. Now, I get it. Hello Kitty is great, and everyone wants the stuff, but the good news is other things in there are universal, like a towel. At least everyone can use a towel. It's a beach towel, but you can use it for whatever the fuck you want. Like, it doesn't matter. It's a towel. And the tote bag, again, is usually for the beach, but you can use it for whatever. So, some of the other items in there for everyone, but they really got to be careful. Like I said, sandals, flip-flops are just, most people would have no use for them, and it just seemed like a bad item in there. The other problem with it, and I'll show you, is that they did not ask for shoe size, which they really should have, but I understand, like, not everyone responds to emails, and like me, I don't have time to respond to emails. The problem with it is, even if they did, these didn't come in sizes. All they had was the generic small, medium, large, extra large, and they just went off your shirt size, which is a terrible idea, because that isn't directly correlated. Some people are very large with small feet. Some people are really tall with big feet. It just depends. So I always get extra large shirts, but I'm a bigger guy, and I got extra large sandals. Look at these things. Like, good God, this is like size 14. Like, I can't fit my foot in that thing. Like, I'm usually extra large everything, but good God, look at that. Fucking Sasquatch in these. Who is wearing these? What giant person out there? Was it like Shaquille O'Neal wearing these sandals? He's going to play some b-ball wearing some Karopi sandals? Like, no. This is ridiculous. And I couldn't sell these because there's probably, I don't know, like 5 or 10 people in the world with feet this big that would legitimately wear Karopi sandals and would have a use for them somewhere near the beach where they would wear them. So, very, very limited, and it was a bad idea for them to do that without confirming any sort of shoe size. My advice to them is that I have no problem with shoes or sandals and stuff like that, but if they're going to, they should just have you put in all your information when you sign up for the box. They ask for a shirt size no matter what box you sign up for, even though most of the boxes don't come with the shirt. Why do they do that? Because it's need-to-know information. In the same sense, if they ever plan on putting shoes in there, doesn't matter if it's now or 10 years later, just ask. Add one more question in there and be like, oh, by the way, what's your shoe size? That's simple. And other things like that too, or like what kind of phone you have if they want to put a phone case in there. So they don't have to go through the trouble to track you down in between boxes. They just have that information. When you sign up for the box, quick questionnaire, 5-10 questions, just like what size are you of all things. We're not guaranteeing any of the items. It's just good to know. Why not? All these boxes should. Why not? It's really not much trouble, and we wouldn't run into situations like this. Giant-footed Karopi sandals. Like, what is the use of that? So again, that's why it gets lower in the countdown. Very limited on the market there. Very expensive on the box. It's a very pricey box, just like Marvel Goods and Gear. And the resale value on it's going down too, so that hurts the value as well. Again, nothing wrong with it. Everyone loves Sanrio. Hello Kitty is one of the most recognizable characters in the world. It's cool stuff, but if they're limiting it to the market, it's not for everyone. That's why it gets lower in the countdown, value included. So there we go. Alright, time for the middle of our countdown. Number 4. The Bandbox. Alright, so the Bandbox is pretty, we know what to expect for the most part. So we usually always get an autograph from someone, artwork from someone, and a pin. And then there's usually 1 or 2 variable items that are small, sometimes a prop replica. So they follow that pattern. So that's good, you know what to expect, but at least they change it up. The signature is always someone different, the art is from different artists, the pins are always different. They do a really good job on the pins. The problem is some of the resale value on it. As you can assume, this box comes out every month, and they sell literally thousands of them, so it's hard to get anyone noteworthy that's really famous to sign that many autographs or sign that many pieces of artwork. So there are good artists out there that are willing to lend their artwork, but none of them, if they are famous enough, are going to want to take the time to sit down and sign 10,000 pieces of paper. Nobody wants to do that. So the more popular they get, the less popular their signatures get, ironically. So there's kind of that bitter conundrum there. But the same with every box. The more popular they get, the less valuable their items are because there are more of them out there. So I'm sure Bandbox has no trouble finding people because they're in that business, but nobody famous wants to sit down. So all the people we get are a lot lesser known, not unrecognizable, they're always recognizable people. This month we got the original Red Ranger from Power Rangers. Everyone knows the guy. I doubt anyone could say his name unless you knew from this. But that, and then the artwork is always cool, and I don't think it shows the artwork in here. Oh yeah, Sloth from the Goonies, so it's cool artwork, but the artist isn't super recognizable either. So that hurts a lot of the resale value. If you happen to not like something, it's hard to resell it because there's already so many out there and it's people that aren't very well known. So that's why it gets in the middle of the countdown. I still love this box. It's one of my personal favorites because they always mix it up. We're always getting something interesting. We're getting items that are personalized by people. I love artwork that's signed and numbered. I love people's autographs. Even if it's someone that's not that well known, I still keep them. I think it's really cool to get something that personal from someone. So that's always special to me. It's one of my favorites, but it gets a little bit lower in the middle because it does hurt the value a little bit. It's not bad. You always get more than you pay for. It's just not always double, and that's the ideal point you want to be at. So that's the only reason it gets in the middle, because it's kind of could go either way. If they get someone more famous one month, it goes up in value, it goes higher in the countdown. If they get someone less famous, it goes down. So that's why it's kind of in that middle area. I've always liked it, but it can be a toss-up at times, depending on who they get, and they don't always say beforehand. So that can be some of the problem. But I always think it's great. It's very enjoyable to me, but maybe just not to everyone. Therefore, the middle. Alright, moving right along. We're doing time, running out of time. Okay, number 3. Number 3 is Disney Treasures. Boop. And this is also a bi-monthly box from Funko. So I really liked the first box. It was very creative, and it did things differently than a lot of other boxes did. This box was almost identical to it, though. It was very similar to the first box, which isn't necessarily bad. I just hope they don't do the exact same thing every month. Because in the first one we got a little Dorbs ride, and this one we got a pop. It's not really technically a pop ride, but it kind of is. And it's the Dumbo from Disneyland. And then we got a regular pop and a Mystery Mini and a special tin. Then the patch and pin. That was exactly what we got in the first box. And there's nothing wrong with that system. I hope they do change it up, though. I hope they do Mystery Mini sometimes, and Dorbs sometimes, and then Pint Size Hero sometimes. So I do hope they mix it up a little more than that. But other than that, that being said, it still was a very cool box. They always take the time of not just giving a Mystery Mini, giving a Mystery Mini in a tin that is actually personalized to that character, which is really cool, and I like that. And part of the small problem with this is that a lot of these items in here are specific to Disney attractions, so Disneyland, Disney World, things like that, which is no problem for people like me because I live right by the original Disneyland, and I love that stuff. But again, same with the beach stuff. Most of the world is nowhere near a Disneyland park because there's only a handful of them in the world, and you've got to be within, like, I don't know, 100 miles of it to drive there. And there's so many people that have, one, never even been to one, and two, may never go to one, or just don't live near one. So a lot of the things that are special about this are lost on people because they don't appreciate those things that are in the park. I do, and I like all the fun facts on here. I like that they're about the park, but I think that same thing with a lot of these boxes. They may be limiting themselves because people aren't appreciating those items not being near Disney Park. That being said, I still like the items in here. I thought the little Dumbo was really cool, and Pluto was awesome. And like I said with the first one, the same problem is that they're doing some lesser known characters, definitely not unknown by any means. Everyone knows who Dumbo and Pluto is, but if you ask people like if they're top 10 Disney characters, they're probably not in there. So it's not like they're unrecognizable, but they are kind of filtering through some of the ones that haven't gotten much attention, which can be good for hardcore Disney fans, but can be bad for casual Disney fans. So it still did good. It got great value. It got more than double the value. The quality on it was nice. Like I said, the personalized tin, that was all cool. I love the fun facts on here. I love the little map, and the patches will eventually fit together, which is nice. They got good pins, so all around a good box. If you're a Disney fan, then this is definitely the one for you. But like most of the Funko boxes, it's more for the hardcore fan. So it's a little more geared towards hardcore Disney fans because, like I said, it's more about the parks, specific facts about it that you'd really have to be knowledgeable about to really appreciate it. Not that the casual Disney fan wouldn't appreciate it, but they just might not appreciate it as much as the hardcore fan, just like their Star Wars box and just like the other one. So just keep that in mind. Casuals are welcome, but it's more for the hardcore fan. But so far, they've kept up with the value, and they really seem to be putting the extra little details in this box. So I really like it. I'm keeping it around, and honestly, I'm not a hardcore fan. I'm more casual, but I still really like this stuff. I love all the stuff in there. So I think it's really great, and I think most people do too. Alright, moving on. Only got 2 more left. Alright, number 2. Now, the number 1 and number 2 spot was a difficult struggle. It was pretty much neck and neck, so don't get too caught up in the exact order. So I tried to do my best, but number 2 was Loot Crate. And this is one that's almost always in like the top 3, and like I've said a million times, it's because it's just so damn cheap. It's so hard to go wrong on a $20 box. It's one of these boxes, definitely by far the cheapest one out there by far, and it's one of the cheapest boxes out there just in existence. So it's really a safe bet most of the times because you're not really risking that much money, and they do have good partnerships. For example, we got another Q-Fig in here, which I love. I love Quantum Mechanics. I love that company. And we've seen this one before. He showed up in the Stan Lee box, I think, of the regular Spider-Man, and this is a black and white variant, which I'm happy with because I thought it was really cool. And he's shooting a little web out. It's him upside down on there. I think there's little minor differences there from the regular version. But yeah, and it was exclusive to Loot Crate, which is really cool, so I love that. And the shirt they had in there was really cool, the Optimus Prime transforming, and their shirts are of good quality. So those 2 items alone make the box worth it. So everything else is just bonus on top of that. But the other items were lacking in quality a little bit, not much, but they could use some room for improvement. But again, it's so cheap, it's hard for them to put more in there. So we got a bowl of, like Hulk holding a bowl. This like hand right there. And it's really seemed cool at first, but then you take it out and it's a plastic bowl, so not that that's bad. It's fine. It would be hard for them to put a ceramic one in there just based on cost, but it just is always a little bit lackluster when you see something really cool in there and you take it out and it's just very flimsy and like cheap in quality. It's like it doesn't ruin it, but it's like it really could have been so much higher in quality. But you know, it is what it is. It's a cheap box. So like I said, it's not that it's bad or anything. It just could have used some more quality. Then we got, and I'll show this item. We got a DC Comics, the New 52 poster book. So you're thinking posters, that's cool. Not everyone's into them. Like me, I buy artwork, so I don't hang posters. But you know, most people, kids involved, love posters, so it's cool to just have them or hang them around or put them somewhere, something like that. So I'm thinking posters, that's pretty cool. And then I saw the poster book. I'm going to do quotes, poster book. And here it is. Here's the size of it. This is how big it is. This is the poster book. And it's like, this isn't posters. I don't know what your definition of posters is, but this is more postcards. And I thought maybe it is postcards, but nope. It says poster collection, because these are legit postcards. And it's funny because they're really thick too, like postcards, but it says posters. So it seems odd. Nothing wrong with that. They could have just done postcards. Why not just do postcards? They're more useful because these aren't posters. Like, I'm not going to frame up one of these little tiny things. And the other thing that sucks is that they're double-sided. So if there was one card in there that had 2 pictures you liked, you had to decide. You can't have them both, because now you can't hang it up, and that's kind of a bummer too. The good news is that they're nice in quality, they're thick, and the artwork they chose is pretty badass. They chose some really cool pictures, so that's all good. But yeah, definitely not posters, and they're double-sided, so you're limited on what they can do. So that was kind of weird. It's not bad, but just call it what it is. Say it's postcards. Don't do it double-sided. Do it single-sided. It wouldn't be that much of a hassle. It's just weird that they had it as posters. I just noticed that Greg Capullo's artwork on the front. I love him. He's great. So yeah, like I said, good artwork, but it's not posters. It's postcards. So I thought that was odd, and like I said, quality could have been better. They want to do a poster book, do that, or just put one poster, but it was just very weird. And we got a nice pin in there of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, and the pins always come with like extra stuff in there, little downloadable content. So that's cool. So like I said, it's still a great box. I loved it, but there's little room for improvement there of things where they could have not put in as many items, put in less items, but put better quality. Maybe not put in all the other stuff and put a better bowl in there, maybe a ceramic one, or not put the bowl in there and put an actual poster book in there where it's actual posters. Because I don't know in what universe something this big can be considered a poster. Seems odd to me. But still number 2 on the countdown, still a great value, still did a great job, so really nothing to complain about, just little minor tweaks if they're watching. That's things that they can improve on. But like I said, it always seems like a safe bet because $20 a month is just not that much to risk. They have a great referral program, so you get $5 off each person you refer, so it's hard to go wrong with it. And like I said, I would have bought this box for the Q-Fig alone. So everything else is just bonus. And the shirt was cool on top of that, so no complaints here. Alright, number 1. Like I said, it was a very close call, but need 2 hands. And that was Lutaku. One that's also usually pretty high on the countdown. Very expensive box though. Very, very pricey, but usually worth it. And this one, we actually got another Dragon Ball one. Another Dragon Ball 30th anniversary box. And they even made a point on putting in parentheses. They said the final one because they have done a lot of Dragon Ball. I'm not complaining. I love Dragon Ball. It's my favorite anime of all time. I'm a huge fan, so I'm more than happy with them doing Dragon Ball all the time, to be quite honest, because they do a really great job. And they give things that you don't see normally. It's stuff that's very high in quality, bigger stuff, statues, things like that. Things that you do not see here in America, or if you do, very rarely because they're imported. Really cool stuff and very rare stuff. And they actually did give really great value, pretty much double the value. And on a $60 box, that's very hard to do. So one thing we've seen a lot, we got the WCF figures. So you got a choice. Mine wasn't that great. I got one of the regular Gokus, which it was cool, but there's so many other ones I would have much rather had, like the Super Saiyan blue version of them or something like that. But it was random. Everyone got a different one. One thing that I did think was weird, they had a bobblehead in there, and you either got Frieza or Cell, and it was just like a beat-up version of it, but they just looked kind of weird. So that was the only thing where it was like, it was just a very odd choice. The quality was fine, but they just both had like goofy looks on their faces, and I've never been a fan of bobbleheads, but very minor complaint that I had. The other one they had was a light box, which was really cool. This is, that's what it looks like with the light turned on of the World Martial Arts Tournament from Dragon Ball. So that was really cool too. And then this one also had an item shipped later, which was the pillowcase cover, but it came very shortly after, so we didn't have to wait long. Honestly, before I even had the chance to open the box, the pillowcase showed up, so that was cool. So I kind of got to open it all at once, so there wasn't much of a delay, and they handled it very well. So they had good value, really good quality, double your value on that on a very high box. And the last one I didn't mention was the Goku statue, but that one's really cool, very, very high in quality, very nicely done. So they've gotten a lot of statues from in this box. We get a lot of statues, a lot of high quality stuff, so that's why it gets higher on the countdown. The fact that it's able to give double the value on such a high price is very impressive, and has tons of variety. This is always going to be focused more towards anime and more towards Asian culture stuff, so it's not always anime, but it's things that are similar to that. Like we've gotten Street Fighter, Dragon Ball, a lot of robot stuff. We got a One Piece box, so it's geared more towards that. But so far, this is the best anime box I've seen. I like it a lot more than anything else, and it really did a good job. So that's why it gets the #1 spot. Alright, that's all the boxes. I kept it as short as I could. So I hope this was helpful to you in some way. I hope this gives you enough information to help you make a decision on which box you would like for you. And as always, feel free to let me know if there's anything you would like to see. If there's a box you'd like to see reviewed, or if you have more questions about anything specifically, feel free to ask in the comments. I always read comments and I try to reply as much as possible. So feel free to jump in there, and feel free to jump in on the contest as well. Always check the descriptions for timestamps, and like I said, pictures at the end. In the meantime, thank you for watching. More box reviews and other collectibles to come. Always let me know what you'd like to see in the comments. Thank you for watching. Love you all. Peace.